Oh, I'm not gonna be able to fight because this motherfucker tweets all the time. Fuck, because I don't remember anything about the tweet. Okay, we'll pause for a second because this is funny to me. So here's a, uh, so here's an actual Jake tweet. I agree with the tweet, by the way, but it's just funny in some other regards. It's like communism is not inherently authoritarian, just like any other economic system. I don't really give a fuck about the rest, but just like any other economic system. This being said, from the guy who, if any little tiny, small, little minutia detail is like anything that's like fucked up, he just blames it on the inherence of capitalism. What? Now, of course, like, I guess this is him being more specific, saying that economics, like, capitalism isn't authoritarian as an economic system. So I guess that's gonna be his like gotcha, is that like, oh well, no, authoritarianism isn't like, I say that capitalism is inherently evil. That's not the same thing as authoritarian. Like, oh, okay, but like, come the fuck on, dude. Like, you're right, but you say a lot of weird shit about like capitalism in like the weirdest ways. Like, it's so fucking weird. But I guess that would be his like gotcha out. I was thinking about it. I was like, yeah. His gotcha out would be like, oh no, I just think that capitalism is inherently evil, not inherently authoritarian. Duh. Like, okay. Yeah. Yeah, no, that would probably be his cop out. And then when that happens, like the response, then you run down this stupid dialogue tree. Like, okay, well, how is it inherently, evil? And you go, oh well, it's because like, it causes people to like search out wealth and blah 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 and stuff like that. It's like, well, no, that's not capitalism's problem. Or like, it gives people power when they have more money. It's like, well, wait, hold on. Sure, capitalism, but is there anything wrong with that? Is there anything wrong with giving people more power if they have more money? Well, no. It's just that people use that power in immoral ways. That's not capitalism being immoral. That's people being immoral inside of capitalism, right? So you can flip that onto socialism or communism or whatever, and you go, yeah, hey, communism, you get more, you can rise in power through like popularity, basically, or something, whatever. And and I'll give one more example that's nerdier as fuck. It's a Star Trek example, but well, fucking like, right, like, let's say, I don't know how, because I'm gonna say just communism or like whatever. I don't know specifically. I would need to know actual Jake's like specific, like what he wants in society. But let's just say, maybe in Richard the Wolf society, I've heard a little bit about that, or somebody's society, maybe like, your popularity is what gets you things, like potentially, and so like, oh, so like in a communist system or whatever, people are driven to become more popular because that's how they can get more power that way, and then and then blah blah blah, immoral things happen here and here and here. People use that power. It's like, well, that's not a problem with communism. That's a problem with people using the power they accrued through popularity immorally. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, is there supposed to be a horrible lightning storm tonight? What's the weather supposed to be? But yeah, so like that's the issue with a lot of like lefties take, mostly actual Jake's takes that I see the most because I follow him. Oh, severe thunderstorm watch. Okay, interesting. When's that supposed to start? 4, it's supposed to rain. 7, it's supposed to rain. 8, 10, it's supposed to rain. 6%. Oh, 15 at 4. 7. There's a 58% chance. But severe thunderstorm watch. It doesn't really have to rain that much for there to be disgusting thunderstorms. No! My job is pretty much anything but an echo chamber. I consume right-wing content most of the time. Yeah, that doesn't mean you're devoid of being an echo chamber. What? You're exposed to the content, but you're not actually like, because you don't do that many debates with people, right? Like, it doesn't seem for the, like, right? You don't really do many debates, or you only really debate like a lot of low-hanging fruit, like chatters or whatever, some low-hanging fruit. You're not really like engaging with a lot of people on the right. You're only exposed to their content, and you can derive whatever like whatever ideas you want from that, and you won't receive any pushback because you're in an echo chamber. That's a misunderstanding of what the fucking echo chamber is. You could definitely 100% be in an echo chamber, even if you only consume right-wing content, because you're not engaging with the right wing, you're not talking to them, you're not being friendly with them, you're not talking with somebody who has a different opinion than you. You're just consuming their content. You might come to some bullshit, horrible, fucking awful take. You might have the worst fucking take possible. Okay, but if the rest of your audience and the rest of the people in your echo chamber agree with you, then like that's an echo. That's what the echo chamber is. The echo chamber isn't an echo chamber isn't what you. Oh fuck! An echo chamber isn't what you consume. It's like who you are around. That's what an echo chamber is. Is that you hang out with a bunch of people that agree with you, so then you only hear of their opinions. So it doesn't matter what you consume. You can consume the most fucking far right imaginable content ever, and you would still be in an echo chamber because you just take that far right stuff and you just spew out whatever opinion you have, and then you mosey on down with that one, regardless if it's right or wrong, because you're only looking for the approval of your peers. You're not looking for like the reality of what you want. And that's where, like, you know, my combative personality bites me in the ass, but I think it helps me a lot more because I can be combative with anybody, my friends included, right? I will be combative with them if necessary, if I think they're wrong. And that can bite me in the ass, and I think it bites me in the ass a lot more, especially when I'm making like new friendships, because I forget to jump out of that mode sometimes, and I'm like needlessly intense for no reason. But that helps me because like I can engage with more people, because like we're talking about like we're talking on separate sides of the argument. So yeah, sorry Jake, you probably still are definitely in an echo chamber because you literally don't do anything. You literally don't like no, your job isn't anything but an echo chamber, Jake. Just because you consume a lot of fucking media doesn't mean right-wing media doesn't mean you are. God, what a stupid fucking, holy fuck. How could you have that tweet? What the fuck? Wow, okay, whatever. But yeah, like, I don't know. Talk about that more. Well, let's see if there's anything else that happens here. But yeah, like, I don't know how you can have such a fucking God, it's so dumb. It's so weird to kind of like
Oh my god. What are your thoughts on the white guys who travel to Asia for better luck with women?
Sorry, but to finish that like point before I listen to that, like, God, I don't understand how you can have such what an awful take, but like more on the economy side of stuff, like, yeah, I just find that other tweet funny, like, oh, it's not inherently authoritarian. Oh, what was I gonna do? Okay, so he would just say that capitalism is inherently immoral. Oh yeah, and then we went down the lines of like, okay, well, like you can find like immoral things, like if that's your definition of immortality of something being immoral, right? Oh, in capitalism, people are driven to make more money, and then when they make more money and profits, you know, they do bad things or they control you more or whatever. It's like, yeah, okay, sure, people are driven to make more profits, and then they're using those more profits to do immoral things. That's not capitalism being immoral. That's people being immoral with their power. So, and we can think about this on the flip side. That would mean that whatever system you want, if there's some, like, whatever system allows you to move up and down in society, like, would there be, so I would have to ask the question, in your system, is there any kind of like, oh, I'll bring up my other example. My example was like through Star Trek, okay? So in Star Trek, the Federation has no money. There's no money. So like, so there's no profit motive in anything. So that's the elimination of profit, right? Which is, I think what Jake would call like the immoral part is because you're searching for profits and blah, 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 blah. So with the elimination of profit, in Jake's mind, or in my mind, through how Jake thinks, or some lefties think, the reason why capitalism is immoral, I can think of a way that the Star Trek system, whatever economic system they run on, is also immoral. Because in Star Trek, there are still power dynamics, there are still hierarchies, right? You have captains, and then you have like ensigns, or you have captains, then you have lieutenants, like you have number one and blah blah blah, and then you have lieutenant commanders, just above lieutenants. So lieutenant commanders, lieutenants, and then ensigns and whatever's below them. So you have a hierarchy, and that hierarchy can be abused through popularity, literally, because I think the only way you move up it through, well, I guess ambition is the other thing, but like, it's at the end of the day, it's mostly a popularity contest when you show yourself off and stuff like that. Like, you know, you get upgraded, you get upgraded past ensign and stuff like that, mostly through popularity, I would think. Besides, like, you know, stuff. But anyways, what you can call the Star Trek system immoral because, you know, somebody accrues a lot of popularity, they become a admiral, and that admiral does like corrupt shit. So, oh fuck, Star Trek's universe is immoral inherently because you can do that, because you've accrued enough popularity, and then now you're using that popularity to do immoral things. Like, no, the system isn't immoral. People are using the system immorally. There's a difference. Same thing with capitalism, right? You accrue a lot of power through profits, and then you use that power, and like you use that profit, that power you've accrued in immoral ways. You know, doing whatever, like fucking cutting down the rainforest, whatever. And is that in search of more profit? Yeah, but again, you can see this in the flip side. Like, that's in search of more profit, but the way you make profit is through selling products, and that's the whole other side is people. I don't want to get off too much, and I want to move back to give an example of on the side of like how can popularity be used immorally. But people always complain about there are 10 companies or whatever, 100 companies that cause 75% of pollution. Yeah, those 100 companies are producing things that people buy, right? So those companies, are they acting immorally? No, they're just providing a good that people demand. They're not overproducing, I don't think. They're producing for the needs of the people, basically, right? They're making shirts, they're making shoes, they're making whatever. How do you, now you can change those practices and make them more renewable through like regulations and stuff like that. And a company, because we live in capitalism, will want to do things to the most profitable example. So we have to kind of balance that through policies. But anyway, sorry, on the flip side of things, right? So you can view, right? Somebody will want to maximize their wealth, and sometimes, you know, clear cutting a forest gives you more profits than, you know, replanting the trees, of course. But in terms of like, so that's the difference, right? Under a popularity contest, that doesn't happen because it would be unpopular to clear cut the forest. Well, is it unpopular to clear cut the forest? What if clear cutting the forest meant that you get, you know, what if you were clear cutting forest? So the reason why the forest was clear cutted in capitalism was to get a lot of lumber so that you can sell it to people who build houses, and they build houses and blah blah blah. Something down the line. And now, in the same regard, right? You clear cutted that forest because you wanted that wood as fast as possible to build a bunch of houses. So maybe popularity is in that regard too, because what you do is you go, hey guys, I'm looking to get you, like, let's say there's some election or something happening, and you go, hey guys, I promise, we have a weird housing crisis right now. There's not enough houses per people. We've got fucking, like, people are living basically like apartments. Like, holy shit, like, there's not enough houses for people. I promise, if you elect me to build, you know, enough houses so that everyone has their own individual house. No one will be bunking together ever again. You can live on your own. Everyone will have like a normal, like, suburban house, like the one I'm living in, right? With my dad and stuff like that, my family house. Everyone can have that family house, that suburban house. And they all get votes and they get elected. And then what they do with that election, they go and clear cut a bunch of trees, and everyone gets their houses, and they're popular because everyone got their houses, and everyone just ignored that a bunch of trees got knocked down because nobody gives a fuck about the trees. Everyone gave a fuck about their house, right? That could happen, right? That's popularity being used immorally, technically, because it's causing global warming and blah 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 blah. Because of course immorality is in the eye of the beholder, basically, right? So there's the same problem in both systems. One was a popularity contest that went sour because to build the houses that you promised, you just clear cut a fucking forest. And the other one is through capitalism not being regulated. So you do it in the cheapest possible way possible, which is just clear cutting. You just fucking cut everything out. Now you could argue, right, that that politician. Now you go to that politician. So this is the dumbass argument of some of this here, is that, why would that politician clear cut the forest? Because then he'll lose popularity again because he clear cut the forest. Because, like, people actually do care about the environment. It's like, well, A, do people really care about the environment? Let's assume that people do care about the environment. what happens when he goes to clear cut the forest? So people voted for him for his housing. They wanted the houses because everyone, like, there's a housing shortage or whatever. They voted for him to get the houses. So now you voted for somebody. He promised you a bunch of houses, but he's not going to clear cut the forest. He's going to select certain trees to cut down, do it in the most ecological way possible. So you're going to select the trees, the specific trees that are dying, trees that are a little bit older. You cut those down first. You replant those trees. You do selective cutting, I think, as it is. It's like, it's not clear cutting, it's selective cutting. There's maybe a better word for it. I think the actual word for it is selective cutting. But we'll do select cutting to get all the lumber needed for those houses. But maybe that just takes way too fucking long, and his popularity plummets because no one's getting their houses in time because it's taking way too long to get the materials. Right? And that's just like again, that's not the system being immoral. That is people having to act immorally because what they want or whatever is like a not, capable of being gotten. Right? Like, yeah, that's, yeah, that's kind of like a long tangent around stuff, but yeah, I just hate seeing those takes online, and it's usually coming out of fucking actual Jake. Maybe I could talk to him because I'm low-hanging fruit enough. But part of me doesn't want to, mostly because I'm sure I can handle myself, but it's like, right, like basically not really first time debate, but I don't have like a ton of experience with like debate stuff. So I don't know how bogged down I can get easily because there's no like moderator there. And actually Jake probably won't want a moderator there because like there's not really a need, but if I'm not well prepared enough, or I don't know how to speak, like I'm not really sure, like, because he has like more viewers and stuff like that, I might feel nervous and pressured, so I don't want to interrupt him as much. So then he like gish gallops and says all of his stuff and gets all of his points out, and then I'm just like stuck there. But it was a moderator there that we can smooth that over, so I'm not getting gish galloped as much and whatnot. So I think definitely help. There's no way that would happen. So I don't know. Like I probably could, but am I well suited enough to deal with it? That's the thing. Like people were saying like. I was thinking about this because actual Jake was supposed to have a debate with somebody, but they wanted their own like work, like their manager to be the moderator, and I was like, okay, that's kind of sketchy. But then at the same time, I was like, okay, well, why is it? But then I was like, well, wait, why doesn't actual Jake want a moderator at all? Like an unbiased moderator. If you just find some random person on the internet that you trust, that you can both like trust as being the moderator, you guys both like suggest some names and whatever, and you guys figure out a moderator that you both like. You should have one because it keeps people on track. You can do it on modern day debates or whatever. Like you can get on that show and like have a moderator that just keeps you both on track, because having no moderator really opens up the field for you just screaming your fucking head off and doing whatever you want, because your audience will love that. And as long as your audience is more like is greater in number than the other person's audience, you can just scream about whatever the fuck you want because it doesn't matter. You're just blowing the other person over. So yeah, I would say that it's basically equally as sketchy if you don't want a moderator as if you do. Like, and what I mean by that is if I were to be there and I was like, oh hey, do you want to have a conversation? If you want, we can have a moderator to keep things on track. But if you're comfortable not having a moderator, we can just skip that and we can have a good conversation and we can do our best to keep each other on track and not really, just have a conversation. And like that to me is like avoid of all the red flags. What's a red flag to me is like, no, I will not have a conversation with if there's a moderator, I won't have it. It's like, why? Or like it needs to be a free flowing discussion. It's like, okay. Or on the flip side, right, if you're like, we need to have a moderator and it can only be my manager. It's like, what the fuck? Why do you want your own? Like what? That's weird. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. Just. Yeah, whatever.